good trip.
Well, this will take some time.
Hello, hello, and welcome to Elite Week. Coming to you live from, oh, look, there's DJ Wiley from the bar, and there's Flappy Flap. Coming to you live from the bar in Meredith City, LFT 926, the Salty Dog. Hey, hey, there you go. It's cool to see people here. Wow. Everybody's doing that kneeling thing. Right on. All right, so I am your host, Kai Zen. Welcome to our Polyam Belter fam. With us tonight, we've got Tweak74. Say hello to the beautiful people.
Hello, everybody. Friday night. Sorry I can't join you at the bar. I'm still locked in my cockpit back there, but I think we have something to discuss. I'm waiting a long time to...
Wow, Tweak, you are roboting really bad. Go ahead and drop and come back. It's good we're not doing the podcast yet, so just drop and come back. We've got Commander Roy Cookson. Say hello, Roy.
Happy Friday, everyone. Hope you're having a great time. Thanks for being with us.
Right on. Let's give Tweak the second try. Tweak, say something.
All right. Hopefully I sound a little better right now.
Perfect.
All
5
right,
by 5.
everybody. All right, cool. I hope everybody's ready for some conversations. We've been waiting a long time for tonight.
Yes, we have. And yep. All right. And we have Kontrolldon, the Don. Say hello.
The dawn is on. I've got a wheel, and this is going to be an awesome show.
Hell yeah. We've got some special guests tonight. They are Admiral Flaps. Say hello, Flaps.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you. Happy Friday, and I hope we all have a beer in hand for this wonderful chat that we're going to have about Odyssey.
Hell yeah. And the man himself, Orange Phoenix. Say hello.
Hello, everybody. Yep, it's going to be an interesting night of conversation.
Yes, it is. All right, we've got a lot of stuff to get through. Let's real quick say hello to people in the chat. Let's see who we've got. We've got Bizwit. You know I'm waiting to have an opinion. Ooh, absolutely. We got Swordsmith. Say hello, Sword. Yeah, Big Seven. We got SP4H. We've got Tishtar, Winter Mute. Hello, hello. Let's see. Make it a bacon cheeseburger. Anyone want? Yeah, I'll take a bacon cheeseburger. That sounds great. Unisakashiro. Hello, hello. Biotic Keen. Hello. Let's see here. We got Anthony Scaletti. Yes, yes. Hello, hello. We've got Rear Admiral Flaps and Orange Phoenix. Big C. Misfit. Foldier. Sensei Jimbo. Sonic. Jizok. Dan Gamble. Jerry Hughes. Van Otter. Game Warrior 10. Commander Saigon. Neil. Dark Beast Carl. There's a story behind that name. Space Hero, who's also here at the bar. We got Zapload. Yes, yes. Hello to all of you. Roy, go ahead and call out the people in Twitch for us.
Yeah, we've got Jeff Bob 25 and Commander Shorty and Fogus 1, Tarl 72, Ho Muffin, and Aiden Lugos.
Love the name.
And
Ho
Commander
Muffin.
Ostrikes getting in Commander Ostriker getting in there right at the end.
Right on. We got Zapload, Space Mercenary also getting in right at the end. We got a lot of talk to do tonight, so go ahead and get us started. Control.
Coming to you live from the Salty Dog Bar in Meredith City, the hottest spot in all of LFT 926. It's Elite Week on Radio Free, Galactica Channel 07.
Hello, hello, party people. I hope you've got a drink in hand and you are ready to go, because this is Elite Week. I am your host, Kai Zen. You know what time it is. With me, as always, we've got Commander Roy Cookson. Say hello, Roy.
Hello, happy Friday, everyone. Glad to have you here with us. We're going to have some fun.
We've got Tweak74. Say hi, Tweak.
Hello, everybody. Some things happened this week. We're going to discuss them.
Wait, things happened this week? Oh, I'll have to check the notes. We've got the man, Kontrolldon, the Dawn. Say hello. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And special guest tonight, we've got Rear Admiral Flaps. Say hello.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here, and can't wait to talk more about Odyssey.
Hell yeah. And we've got Orange Phoenix, the man himself. Say hello, Orange.
How do all, and welcome on in.
Right on. Right on. All right. So we've got a lot to talk about tonight. I'm drinking. I've got margarita mix with very, very heavy Hornita Salsa Blanca tequila, and I've got some dragon's milk, so I'm pretty good. What's everybody else drinking? Let's go around the horn. We'll get the coffee right out of the way, and we'll see. What are you drinking, Tweet?
I've got some weird-ass coffee tonight. This is from that same company, Bones Coffee Company. It's peanut butter and jelly coffee, which sounds disgusting as all hell. It's actually quite good with some French vanilla creamer added to it. I'm surprised. All the comments in it said it was their favorite coffee, so I said, well, we got to try it, and they're not wrong. It's actually quite good.
Sometimes things that don't seem like they're going to be great turn out good in the end. Just going to marinate on that thought for a second.
I think we might be muted, Kai. I'm seeing no sound in YouTube chat.
No control volume here.
Comments and Twitch.
Oh, it's just control is muted.
Oh, okay.
So control, you did your thing, so they didn't hear you. Okay. Say hi to the beautiful people and tell them what you're drinking, Control. After you unmute yourself.
Okay, now you should be able to hear me. So, hey, beautiful people. I had some great Pinot, and now I'm drinking some South African and maybe a beer. Have a great evening.
Nice. Roy, what are you drinking? What classy wine are you drinking tonight?
Well, I've switched it up. After my caffeinated sparkling water, which I'm about to finish, I'm going to crack open a Founders All Day IPA. It's a session ale. Great taste.
Right on. And let's see. How about we start with Orange Phoenix on this one? What you got?
I'm having some Stella Artois for this evening.
Very, very nice. The Stella. And Flaps, what you got?
I have myself a few bottles of Asahi Japanese beer and a little bit of whiskey to wash it all down afterwards.
Very nice. So that's what we've got, folks. Let's go through and get started with this. We have, right off the bat, the opening song was the Mandalorian main theme. It was covered by ALINA GINGERTAIL. I figured it would be appropriate this week. So many people running around in settlements and getting shot at and whatnot. I hope you guys enjoyed that. My closing song, I'm going to go ahead and mention it at the end of the show. It's a special dedication to my console brothers and sisters. I'm going to leave that as a surprise just for now. Let's see. The cover art this week is the ultimate asp in front of things shot. And I want to do a special call out because I missed it in all of the hectic whatever that was going on last week. Last week's cover art that was so awesome was Gypsum Brain Trees in Front of Things by Commander Safia. That was a phenomenal shot. And I felt really, really bad that I had skipped it. When I was listening and doing the show notes, I was like, oh crap, I didn't give them their proper, shout out. So this is going to be an interesting show. We're going to have an interesting discussion. I think let's be honest, we've seen it everywhere. The forums are on fire, the community's sort of a mess. So I just decided we're going to call this one, you know, Elite Week episode 78, Odyssey launch. Don't panic. Galactic water cooler, Friday, May 21st, 2021. Let's go ahead and get this started. We've got tonight, we're going to talk to you about the Odyssey launch. We're going to talk about some pilot lounge and the Thargoids attacking and the forums being on fire. All this and more, so stay tuned.
If you're listening to us on the podcast and would like to see the live show and visuals, check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/Elite Week and on Twitch at twitch.tv/Elite Week. If you're watching us on YouTube or Twitch and would like to know how to catch us on our podcast, check out anchor.fm/Elite Week.
For sending us your thoughts by email, you can reach us at eliteweek3306@gmail.com.
Our very active and growing Elite Week Discord can be found at tinyurl.com/Elite Week Discord, where you can check out or contribute to community feedback, resources on turning the wheel, and real-time updates about Elite from a variety of content creators.
In addition to the Discord community feedback channel, feel free to write in our YouTube comments anything about the topic of the week, as well as anything else you'd like to share. We'd love to hear from you. Also, if you're enjoying the show on YouTube, please make sure to like and subscribe and click on the bell. It really helps us out. On Twitch, a follow would be much appreciated.
If you're on Twitter, feel free to follow at EliteWeek3306 for news and information about Elite Dangerous and cool sci-fi and space news.
We record live on YouTube every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 1 a.m. UTC, so come and join in on the fun.
If you're listening to us on the podcast, please make sure to rate and review us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever platform you use. And let us know if there's a format you want us to look into.
We don't do Patreon, so save your money and just tell your friends about the show.
You're listening to Elite Week. This is Burger Ant. Subscribe if you want. Who fucking cares?
Yeah, who fucking cares? All right. So let's get this party started right off the bat. Let's start with an interview with our guest, Orange Phoenix and Admiral Flaps. We've got a couple things to discuss. Why don't we start with Flaps and talk about the Pilot's Lounge?
Yeah, so Pilot's Lounge has been around now, what, 3, maybe 4 weeks now? Well, the idea was maybe born 3-4 weeks ago, but we launched it officially around about just over 2 weeks ago. Pilot's Lounge is essentially a place for everyone in the community to come together and basically interact all about Elite Dangerous. The idea of it is that we want everyone to leave their rank at the door. Like we have Frontier people in there, for example, but they are treated just as much as a member of the community as the next person. We don't want to, give people special privileges or anything like that within the Discord. It's just everyone comes together and just talks about Elite Dangerous, and it's absolutely taken off with the launch of Odyssey. The idea of it, the whole idea of it came about a long time ago, which Orange Phoenix would be probably better talking about rather than I, because he was the one that came to me. But yeah, it's been a fantastic experience so far, and it's been a lot of work as well. A lot of work.
Right on. We have in the show notes the special link to the Discord for the Pilot's Lounge. So it's discord.io/pilots_lounge, but it's in the show notes. So you'll be able to click on it and, go get involved. Orange Phoenix, why don't you talk a little bit about that, the origin, how the lounge got started, and then we can transition into your recent success of this this awesome sort of group community initiative that happened last weekend.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. So the whole idea behind the Pilot's Lounge was really inspired by both Admiral Flaps and Just Jonah. Just Jonah did a stream some time ago, which was quite incredible. It was a flight to Hutton Orbital, and he opened up his Discord, got loads of people involved, all to fly, and during the period of time to fly over to Hutton, everybody just had a chat. After that, Flaps started doing something similar. Yourself, Kai, you used to hop in. We had a whole bunch of other people just would hop in the stream, open Discord, have a wee chat, and yeah, it inspired this sort of, let's hear from the rest of the community. So I was having a chat with a few commanders, including Admiral Flaps and a good number of others, and explained, this is, I think this would be a great idea. I've been thinking about it for a while. What do you think? And everybody was like, that sounds brilliant. And so we decided, having a Discord as the main basis, the foundation for it, and then eventually spreading that to a Twitch stream eventually that would allow anybody to come in and chat. So we settled on the idea of a bar. Literally, you come into the Pilot's Lounge and you will be given a complimentary drink as you join the Pilot's Lounge. And as Flaps was explaining earlier, it's sort of leave your rank at the door kind of idea. Everybody's on a level playing field. Doesn't matter what platform, doesn't matter what style of play you take part in. And you can just come in, share your ideas, have a sort of blast just talking to other commanders, and hopefully it will allow collaborations and content creation and new friends. So, and yeah, with us hitting the kind of levels that we are now, Flaps, I'm sure you could probably confirm the total better than me.
Okay, so in what you would say it's just over 2 weeks, I would say we have 729 members in just over 2 weeks.
That's fantastic. That is awesome. And, at the rate that you're going, you're going to be shooting like a rocket as this keeps, as this keeps going. So that's fantastic. And you said that one of the cool things about the Pilot's Lounge is that it's sort of makes it very easy for a bunch of people to collaborate and to do cool stuff. And one of those collaborations went off last weekend. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
So yes, last weekend, Operation Warbucks happened. It was a fundraising stroke charity event thought up by a number of commanders, once again, including Rear Admiral Flaps, and kind of the main hub within the Pilot's Lounge was where a lot of the brainstorming went on, which I was excluded from. The reason being, it was fundraising to get me a PC so that I can take part in Odyssey. But on the back of that, the aim that I really pushed for was donations to a charity called Health in Mind, a Scottish mental health charity. And with the help of the amazing community like, for example, yourself, Kai, spreading the word, we had such a fantastic viewership right through the whole. I think it went on for 29 hours in the end. It was supposed to be a 24-hour relay. Yeah, we raised over £5,700 in the whole event, and yeah, that blew our minds. It just goes to show how amazing this community is. So effectively, yes, the modest PC will be funded, and we'll hopefully have over £4,000 that will go to the charity. Amazing.
A good way of putting that is that the initial target to get OP as PC was met within just over 1 hour of the 24-hour stream. So it goes to show the kind of support we had from the very beginning of Operation Warbucks, which is just, I'm still trying to process it to this day. Just everything that happened that day, it absolutely killed me, to be fair. But amazing experience, amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it was phenomenal all the way around. The stream. So the people behind the scenes that worked hard to make it happen, the streamers on the day that were giving of their time and really put in the effort to make it happen, all of the lovely people of the community that donated. And, let's be honest, in COVID times, even there's people that just money is not a thing right now that they can do, but people were cheering it on and telling their friends and just all the way around in every aspect of it. Everybody involved was so lovely, and it worked out phenomenally. So yeah, huge salute to you guys, all of you guys who worked so hard on it.
Thank you, man.
It was an incredible experience, and on the back of that, we plan to make Operation Warbucks a continuing thing. We're considering looking at doing a quarterly event where we will raise funds for a charity with suggestions from people in the Pilots Lounge. So basically, if a small streamer, a big streamer, somebody that's not a streamer comes forward saying, look, I really wanted to try and raise money for this particular charity, but I don't know where to start, we can use our experiences and our knowledge from doing this one to help hopefully perpetuate and get other people in on charity events for the future. So Operation Warbucks will continue.
Absolutely. That is awesome news. All right. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and get to the rest of the galaxy here, and because we want to get your guys' opinion on all of this stuff. So right off the bat, let's go ahead and start off with the Dark Wheel.
It's the Dark Wheel update.
Absolutely. So where are we at with this? I told you last week, when next we talk, I'd be telling you that the Dark Wheel is pending expansion or mid-expansion from 9 Puppets, and that happened. So we're in the expansion. The BGS is just sort of all over the place. It's a shit show this week, as to be expected. There's hot patches, the servers are going down, they're coming back up, the tick is late, this is happening, that is happening, but it's okay. This is just part of the process, and it's not that big a deal. We're rolling with it and doing it well. We fully expect that things are going to calm down a little bit next week, and we've got everything sort of prepped so that it will come out okay. And really, the vast majority of that is due to the hard work and efforts of Wolfdragon and his team, who are getting it done. So, we were all out there jumping earlier today. The tick was late, and then was later even still because of the server going down for hot patch 2. But we broke it up, we got it done. Orders got out a little late. Some people were like, hey, where are the orders? And it's like, well, we can't do the orders while the server's down. We have to wait for a tick. But we got it all taken care of. So big salute to the guys. And it won't be next week's show, but the following week we should have an actual hey, now we've landed somewhere, let's see what this does. So this is very, very exciting, because this is all about testing if we can get into LFT 509, which I don't have to tell you guys has been a long effort to get here to the third and final of the test sites in this. After this, the project will transition into a much more sort of low intensity, just expand the Dark Wheel just for numbers, and we'll that'll just be honestly way easier, way less effort involved. And we'll see if any cool sort of test sites present themselves or how things go from there. But we'll take a look. All right. So that takes us to our moment of David Braben. Every week,
I want to talk about story and player narrative in the world of Elite Dangerous, and it's worked really well. The rise of
no, don't play the video yet.
First,
please.
Player power.
Is it? It's playing. No, it's playing on YouTube.
It stopped.
All right. So sorry about that. This is all Monohive radio edit. Beep beep. All right. So every week we play a video of David Braben from back in the day. We have a little talk. We listen to what he said. This is stuff from 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, whatever. And we say okay, he's talking excitedly about plans for this, and this. What have we got? What have we not yet? What are we expecting? Where are things going? How are these promises sort of fulfilling themselves or not, or progressing? And we kind of just dissect it and take a look. A lot of people seem to like it and say, man, this is really neat. I appreciate you showing me this stuff. I love seeing David Braben talk. A lot of other people like it and say, man, I really appreciate you showing this. I wasn't even aware that this and this and this was promised that long ago, and we still don't have it. sometimes I get people that message us and say, wow, this is clickbaity, you're whatever. And it's like, no, this is not, this is a fairly good premise, I think. And a lot of people seem to like it. So for the 1%, 2% that say this is clickbaity, it's like, no, we're not trying to trick you. We're not telling you this is something you said this week. This is reviewing stuff that happened and kind of getting into it. So if you were expecting David Braben video from 5 minutes ago, you can go ahead and click off now, because that's not what this is. Having said all of that, go ahead and play it.
So I want to talk about story and player narrative in the world of Elite Dangerous, and it's worked really well. You know, the rise of we've seen the first player power coming to power now. We're there in 2.2. Backed by 15,000 players, which is a small portion of the total player base, but that's shows that there's so many dedicated people supporting the new guy Yuri Grom to come. Very exciting. But what it means is how much people care about the different elements of the galaxy. We've seen with Jacques Station, we're seeing people establishing a foothold outside the main human bubble. Is all great to see, and it sort of echoes the part of the story where we have this whole concept which we've called the missing, of people over the last millennium, when spaceships became ever cheaper, headed out into the unknown. We've talked about the Empire, but there will be so many other people who headed out on their equivalent of the Oregon Trail or whatever and didn't make it. You know, where you see people who they may have built some sort of homestead or whatever, but didn't survive long enough. They didn't make that first winter in the terms of the American settlement. And so I think in terms of the way the stories pull together, I've been really delighted the way people have engaged with it, you know, that and the way it has worked. I mean, we've seen the Dangerous Games over the last few months, which I think have worked very well, and people have really, it's captured people's imagination, as has Jack's. I'm amazed the dedication just to get all that way out there takes ages. And I thought the Pleiades were quite a way out, you know, and but it's lovely to see so many people engaging with this, and with the wonderful world that actually players are creating as much as anything. You know, this sort of emergent story where people are interacting, people do care about the future, and where, even though it's not sort of initially quite what we expected, the amount of role playing we see going on. And also the other thing is, I typically play as Commander Braben in open, and people are actually, it's really great. You know, I did think originally I would just get killed, and actually that did happen a lot in the beta. I think quite a lot of times on YouTube. But anyway, the point being that people are genuinely they chat. I met some people out on Merope not long ago, you know, and it's just fun to have such a real sense of positivity, of community. And I think a lot of those features, you know, people playing in Wings and things like that, have really embraced that. You know, we see these, the Distant Worlds expedition, which I think was wonderful, crossing all the way to the other side of the galaxy, which is even more a huge undertaking. And the people who meet up at Sagittarius A star, for those who don't know, is the black hole at the center of our galaxy, which is a hugely long way away from the human bubble. And even the human bubble in Elite Dangerous, which is a huge volume with a huge number of stars and systems, which is where almost all of the game activity takes place, is a tiny little dot on the scale of the galaxy. And so I think that the rise of the player-driven story is wonderful. We're seeing so many people engage with it, whether they're engaging with it just at a local level trading, but we're seeing more people sort of breaking out of that that routine, if you like, and starting to engage with the story. That's something I want to see more of. And essentially it's something where we're at the beginning of something. We're going to see a lot more of these things to come. We're starting to see first indications of alien life. And I mean life, with archaeology to come as well, and species that are long dead, but there's a reason they're long dead, and that will come. And I will even give a slight hint. The reason they're long dead is not. A lot of things that I don't want to spoil that are very, very exciting. There are some indications that we're showing here at Gamescom of what is in the galaxy. And that's, of course, extremely exciting. And so it's great fun from our side as well. You know, and this is why I'm trying not to give out spoilers. Or I mean, there are some things that are slight spoilers, but it is very exciting. And to see how players react to it, to see how players interact when they do make discoveries. You know, I love some of the things that are coming, that are in there, some of the things that are already in there. And it's very funny as a game developer when you know something's there and it takes a long time for it to appear, for someone to essentially find it, because we've got such a big haystack with our needles in it, if you like, from the metaphoric point of view, for people to find things. But it's very, very exciting. You know, this is a step on the road. And it's an important step on the road, but we have so many exciting things to come. You know, there is a real story that we are telling here that is great, and we're seeing some of the elements of it. But that's the really big thing that's to come as well, as that becomes more, there's more in the game, more visibility of it, and better ways for players to interact with it. And we're trying to make sure that the player-driven narrative is, it has the opportunity to be front and center. You know, we already call out commander names in Galnet when particular commanders have made a difference, if you like. And I think we want to see more and more of that, especially when it comes to big battles or significant battles which have changed the course of what might be to come. So Jacques' station is fascinating. The response to his plight. For those of you who don't know, Jacques runs a station that headed off into the unknown. There was a community goal where people brought a lot of supplies and fuel for his journey. There wasn't quite enough there, and I think other people brought unknown artifacts to him as well, so it didn't help. But he didn't make it as far as he'd hoped, so he ended up lost in space. He had a problem, he had a failure, and players finally found him in an immense galaxy. A player, and I'm embarrassed to say I don't remember the commander name, the guy who... I'm sure it will come up in the caption here. There you go. You're going to find who it is now. And found him, and then people have brought supplies to him, and now we've got a foothold, a human foothold, a long way outside the bubble, a really long way outside the bubble. I think that's amazing, the number of players who've made the journey and continuing to make the journey to bring him supplies, and I think that's really exciting. I think... You know, I'm hoping more settlements will be set up around it, and we'll get a second bubble. I think that's what looks like is going to happen. But that's being player driven, and that's great. It's really wonderful to see players engaging with different aspects of the story. So I think that's great, and it drives longevity in the game and the richness of the whole thing. You know, the whole sort of hut and mug thing as well, I thought was very interesting and funny. You know, I think it's really good, and you know, so do you expect it? I think you hope for these sort of things. You hope people will really engage with it, and they have, and so it's really appreciated, and it's great to see. You know, that what we'll try and do is embrace that and make things better, so that there are more ways that these groups can have great fun in the future.
All right, so that was David Braben talking excitedly about all kinds of things. Here's what I pulled from it. He talked about story, players influencing the galaxy through player-driven story. He talked about power play, the dangerous games, and exciting stuff going on with Yuri Grom, which is sort of now defunct. He talked about the missing stories that, you know, about all these people that went out there and where did they go and what happened to them, and you know, we have some stories about generation ships, but there's definitely room for more. He talking about how tiny the bubble is and how it's sort of our mandate to spread out across the galaxy, and how that exciting that is with the Jock Station and Colonia and all of that. And man, I tell you what, I would like to sign up, Mr. Braben, please. I would like to sign up for your Explorer Corps. I'd like to get out there in the galaxy. Let's drop some player-owned stations and start expanding this bubble. Let's start some CGs and throw out, you know, another little Colonia just in some, you pick the spot, whatever's good for you is good for me, brother. Just throw a spot out there 20,000 light years in any direction and I'll start hauling shit. Let's make it happen. You know, he talked about the stuff going on with the Thargoids. And if you noticed, these are a series of interviews that happened from Gamescom back in 2016. And in every one of these interviews, the Frontier team put in a cheeky little thing where as BRABEN is talking, that's so rude. As Mr. BRABEN is talking, he definitely deserves the respect. There, like, it cuts in the middle. He says like, "Oh, I'm about to drop a hint," and then like it cuts in with interference, and then you see a little whatever. And this was all on the eve of sort of them finding Thargoids for realsies, and like, what the hell does this mean or whatever. And there were all these tantalizing hints, and you know, that was exciting that they were doing stuff in the galaxy. There was new stuff to find and do that was real and was, as Mr. BRABEN said, player-driven story, immersive story that was emergent story that was, you know, real and vital and amazing and had everybody talking. You know, he talks about things being hidden in the galaxy, as I was just saying, stuff for people to find. And exact quote, "We want to make sure that the player narrative is front and center in the galaxy." That sounds very attractive to me. I want to play the game that guy is talking about. Let's start and go around the horn and get your thoughts. Roy.
I mean, the one that jumped out to me with exploration being one of the things I do the most in this game is like the point about things being hidden in the galaxy and how he has this sort of fun anxiety when he knows there's something out there and he's waiting for people to find it. And for me, that's just like catnip. I mean, that I can't imagine that we found all the things he was. I hope that he wasn't just talking about Guardian sites. Like, I don't think it's that simple. I think there's things. This is my headcanon. There's things still out there, and that's why I and I'm sure some others keep looking, and that's what keeps us going. And that's great to hear him say that.
I absolutely believe that there's some stuff still out there. I also think that it would behoove Frontier to put a team on going into the sort of Stellar Forge or background, whatever stuff they use. I know Stellar Forge was used to form the galaxy, but whatever they use now to populate the galaxy with stuff, whether it be POIs or NPCs or events or whatever, I think they should put a team on, you know, let's crank out a whole bunch of shit and seed it, you know, with what do you call it? Proc gen, seed it in the galaxy to like, we need a lot more stuff for people to find and do, because people say that Elite Dangerous is, you know, a mile wide and an inch deep, and it's definitely not, but it is in some places. You know, if you know where to look, it's deeper than an inch for sure. But there are plenty of places where it's an inch deep. And you don't want to overdo it where there's just every system. Well, actually, no, I take that back. I think every system should have something. That doesn't mean every system has to have a Guardian site, but like some interesting plants or an interesting sort of, hey, look, here's a thing that looks like a llama, but lives on a planet that, you know, whatever. Here's a thing. Here's a weird situation where you have stuff like you have with Ganymede, where you know you have interesting planetary sort of effects. Or here is, look at over here with why am I blanking on the name? The moon far out there that has the outgassing, that's the thing that NASA is super excited about now. I want to say Solis, but I know that's wrong. There's a name.
Enceladus, Europa.
Enceladus, where there's weird outgassing, where it's just spraying stuff out there. Like, I think every system in the galaxy through ProcGen should have something. It doesn't all have to be Thargoids and Guardians, but it should have something: a rock, a tree, an animal, a weird mineral. Like, everything should have something. Tweaked, I think you wanted to talk about some story. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, first, I'd like to agree with you guys. I'd love for there to be more stuff to find out there. Like I've said before, that's the reason I am not an explorer. I do not really enjoy going out in the black looking for stuff, because I don't believe there's anything to find other than cool looking planets and nebulas and things like that, which, don't get me wrong, that stuff is great, but I need more. that being said, what year was that video? 2016?
Yes, it was 2016.
He was so enthusiastic about story and player content. And what happened shortly after 2016? Maybe 2 years later? Galnet went away. Story went away. All that player content disappeared, and we had to start doing our own thing. Somebody that is that infectious and that passionate, and then for that to still happen, terrifies me. Absolutely terrifies me. And it kind of leads into what we've been seeing of late, I think.
Fair enough. Orange, Phoenix, hop in.
Yeah, I love those videos. The David Braben, making his appearances, the enthusiasm of him and what this project means to him. You can plainly see it, the way he's so sort of animated when he's talking about these things. So, I want to see more of that. I want to see more of David Braben talking about his baby, Elite Dangerous and now Elite Odyssey, and a little bit more effort from them, maybe, like you were mentioning the glitches with the Thargoids just sort of sneaking in there. We're waiting for more stuff like that. And as Tweet was saying there, we've gone through quite a dip of nothing. Now Odyssey's here. Now's the time to really see all this start to come back, and make use of the new news or beginnings of Odyssey.
And can I point out, I think it's a subtle, but I think an important distinction. In 2014, 2015, 2016, you were seeing David Braben talking excitedly in detail about the things that he and the team were doing with Elite. Now you are seeing David Braben show up every once in a while, and when he does, he's doing a very classy, very British sort of like, hey, I want to congratulate the team on the success of this thing that they put out. It's sort of a form letter of like, hey, congratulations on the team for doing this, whatever. And it's a similar sort of form letter to the ones that you see of, hey, congratulations to the team for the fantastic, you just added a snow leopard and a penguin or whatever to Planet Zoo, and hey, congratulations to the Jurassic Park team for adding these 3 new dinosaurs. It's sort of the form letter version, whereas what we got before was more the I am super excited for the stuff that I'm doing. And I know, in fairness, like the man has to sort of he has to be the big boss now, and he's got more whatever, but I miss those days where he had his hands in the dirt and was actually out there planting stuff that we could enjoy seeing grow. That's just a selfish comment on my part, but whatever. Flaps, do you have anything you want to add to this one?
Just really that, yeah, I totally agree with what you guys said. It is good to see Daddy Braben coming out and sort of talking about stuff. But like, if that's 2016 and we're in 2021, and the biggest launch that we've ever had, we do need to see more and more and more of Daddy Braben. And as you said, he needs to get his fingers back in the pie.
Right on. All right, so we'll continue every week, sort of taking a look at David Braben from the past and putting it through the lens of what we see now in Elite. And I have to say, I'm a huge fan of David Braben. There are people that will make comments of, oh, he's this, he's that, whatever. He's my guy. I'm a huge David Braben fan myself. And yeah, as Burger Ant said, you don't get any better than Daddy Braben and Brett Favre. So let's all down a drink to that. That takes us to Frontier News.
For news beyond the game, it's Frontier News.
It's Frontier News. Whew, all right. Let's start off with the forum threads. May 19th on Odyssey launch, there was the Elite Dangerous Odyssey launch patch notes, which were very, very extensive. Then the next day, which was yesterday, March 20th, was Elite Dangerous Odyssey Hotfix 1 patch notes. Then the next day, which was today, Elite Dangerous Odyssey Hotfix 2 patch notes. The next, same day, which was also today, David Braben sort of made a fairly apologetic sounding message to the community. The links to all of these are in the show notes for you to go and check out. I'm not going to sit here and read through the patch notes or the hotfix notes because they're massive. They're very, very long. We're going to get a little bit later to the David Braben comment post, but for now I'll just say it's there. You can go check it out. Which takes us to streams. On Wednesday, they did the Elite Dangerous Odyssey launch trailer, which was 2 minutes long. And on Thursday, they did the Elite Dangerous Odyssey launch stream, which was damn near 3 hours long. A couple things I want to point out from the Odyssey launch trailer. I saw some neat, exciting things. At the 58-second mark, you see plants moving in the breeze as a ship flies by. You didn't see that in alpha. That was something new and cool, and I was excited. At the 1 minute and 26-second mark, you have to freeze frame it in 4K and zoom in, but there was a guy that they were shooting, and you have to literally pause it. I played it at 0.25 speed and paused it and looked. There was a dude who was wearing the Imperial Commando gear, which is this white, awesome looking gear that had for those of you that were children of the forever ago and remember G.I. Joe, remember when they had the white Snake Eyes? You know how Snake Eyes always had all in black and he was like a ninja dude? There was the white Snake Eyes dude. Storm
Shadow.
Sure, that one. There was a dude was wearing that mask, and I was like, I want to go to there. I need to have that in my life. So I am super excited, hoping that is a thing that you can maybe earn eventually down the road, get your Imperial rank or whatever, and you can earn that outfit because that looked cool as hell. There was a new sort of plant genetic lab layout that had all kinds of these biopods. They were like bivouac pods, and then a hallway at the end of it that had a hide HYDR. And I was like, "Ooh, is there aquatic plants that this is cool new locations? I'm excited. That sounds cool." So it was a cool little trailer. I thought it was well done, well put together. The Odyssey launch stream itself had a David Braben mini interview, which was great. It was very exciting to see. There was a round robin of guests, including Darren Halil, the lead mocap guy, the render artist, whatever guy of characters and stuff, animation. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. And Dav Stott. There was all kinds of Twitch drops. I got to be honest with you. I know this is probably huge hot take, very unpopular opinion. I am so fucking sick. And I'm trying not to curse as much now. I'm so tired of the Twitch drops because it literally just turns the chat into an absolute train wreck. You can't read anything. It's all just flying by at a million miles a second. And, I think it might be designed for that purpose. But, yeah, so they did a big, all of the Twitch drops. Get them. All right, cool. Can we retire them now, please? So it was a good stream. I want to say they were back to the office. It was, yeah. I see Boss Lady in the chat, Kai not cursing. So here's the deal. I had a couple people. I would get one guy a week going, dude, you're cursing, you're whatever. You need to stop that, whatever. And I was kind of like, screw you. I'm going to keep going. I don't care. Because I'm that kind of a person where if you come at me the wrong way, I'm going to fight you just out of just being ornery. Then I had one guy in the chat last week who was like, Kai, I really love your show, but it's hard for me to listen to it because I kind of I play it and my kid is in the background and it's kind of rough. And I'm like, oh, he hit me the right way. If you come at me nice, I'll kind of bend over backwards for just about everyone. so I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to be more sort of family friendly, streamy, whatever the hell. But the more I drink, the less chance of that there is. So, like, no promises. But I'm trying for that guy, because he asked nicely. He asked the right way. Anyways, they were back in the office, which is like very, very cool. Not only just for them, for the stream, like, because I'm not, you know, okay, whatever, their streams, but like more so for what it means as like the UK is slowly starting to come back from, you know, the lockdown stuff, which I think leads to sort of some better, you know, team synergy and ability to do things, and you know, that I think are going to pay off dividends for us. We have to acknowledge the fact that the whole time that they've been sort of doing this for the last year or so that they have been on lockdown, it has been an added challenge or hurdle to them making the game and doing all of the things that they're supposed to do. So I'm super excited for what sort of that indicates for better things to come. Orange Phoenix.
Yeah, I have to echo what you were saying about the Twitch drops. I absolutely love the idea that Frontier and Elite Dangerous want to give things back to the community, but the Twitch drops really do ruin the whole ethos of a stream where people are trying to ask questions. You know, they'll turn around and say, "Oh, we'd like to hear questions about this from the chat," and you can't get a word in edgeways. And fair enough, it's the Twitch system that prevents it from making it possible. And from what I've researched, there's no way of switching it off. Maybe it's time for the team to just think, yeah, we want to give things back, but this is ruining the experience for the viewers here. So let's just back it off. But I adored the information revealed from the team members like Dav Scott, etc. The interaction from hearing what they get up to, how they do things, how much work is actually involved, I think is something that really the community could benefit from hearing.
Yeah,
because you know, people turn around and say, "Oh yeah, oh do this in the game," you know, that would make it so much better, but they have no real understanding till you speak to these people and the amount of effort they have to go to make a simple thing work, and the knock-on effects. And also obviously having Daddy Braben actually making an appearance live was great to see, and you know, him doing the apology as well was an interesting thing.
Dude, Dav Stott is such a massive nerd. I love that guy. He did that whole interview. He's got a map of Faerun on the wall behind him, and I'm like, I want to have that man's babies. Ooh, I have to stop. Don't curse. He's such an awesome guy. I'm a huge fan of K. Ross. I'm a huge fan of Dav Stott. This Darren Halil guy, I like him. I love the woman that they had about a month ago that she was, I forget her name, but she was amazing that they had her on, and she was talking about all different kinds of stuff. You know who I'm talking about? There was a woman.
I know who you mean.
That they had like a month ago. Samantha Marsh. She was phenomenal. You know who I really want? Who I'm absolutely just I'm totally in love with this person. Every time they show a clip, this dude, I forget his name. I'm horrible with names. But there's a very tall black dude who works in the sound department, and they've done 2 clips where they've shown him, and both times he is grinning from ear to ear, and it's like, I want to have a beer with that guy. I want to hear him tell stories about the stuff they do, because their sound team is phenomenal, and that guy is just so charismatic. He is I mean, he's just amazing. That guy was like, I want a full stream with him just talking and grinning in a way that is super infectious. It's like when you see David Braben talking and he's like so excited and he's like spazzing out with his hands or whatever. It's like when you see a little kid that's excited to talk about something, and they're like freaking out, and they're like, "Oh my god!" And that is so, to me, so infectious, so endearing that I'm like, I want to talk to that guy. I want to sit down and have a beer with that guy and just ask him questions and watch him just nerd out, and I could just enjoy the process. So yeah, it was a good stream. Go check it out. The links are in the show notes, which takes us to our Galnet articles. Roy, hit it up.
Yeah, so the first two, May 17th, May 20th, were both about this alliance election. The first one, Alliance Unrest, as MAHON and KAINE clash. The second, Alliance election candidates announce community drives, which kicked off this week's community goals. So I had to read that, the Alliance election candidates announce community goals. I had to read that one a couple times to try to figure out, like, is the election already decided, or is this actually going to mean something?
Well, you've heard, everybody's heard my opinion for the last couple of weeks where I said, yeah, spoiler alert, MAHON won. They don't have time to go changing names and pictures on stuff. The Galnet article that came out the day before this community goal was hilarious, because in the Galnet article it says, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. MAHON's already won. It's just a matter of, if the MAHON CG wins, the alliance is going to be on a more sort of expansionist policy, whereas if the Nakato KAINE CG wins, the alliance is going to be more on a, let's be sort of internal, let's take care of trade issues closer to home, and you'll probably have some more rare goods. But it was just kind of like, they basically said it before the CG started, of like, hey, don't get your hopes up, because MAHON's not going anywhere.
Yeah. And we'll see that when we talk about the CGs in a sec. And then on May 21st, we had a couple articles. First one, HADRIAN DUVAL allegations declared inconclusive. So the nuh-uh side appears to be gaining ground here. Maybe it was a setup. And that one's actually an interesting read. And then finally, Thargoids pursue AEGIS megaship. So the megaship that had gathered all the Guardian technology bits to research new weapons is trailing Thargoids as it's heading towards Seoul. I imagine the Benny Hill music and this thing jumping all over the place with a big string of Thargoids running around behind it.
That yakety smackety.
Yeah. So I mean, nothing good can come from that. And of course there was the bug today. I guess it's been determined it was a bug where the Oracle station looked like it was falling into the planet, and others that had been attacked by the Thargoids looked like they were losing orbital speed, which would have been awesome. But maybe that's a bug. So
it's pretty much confirmed at this point that it's a bug. But interestingly enough, it was a bug that affected certain stations in the Coalsack Nebula, the Pleiades, Witchhead, Colonia, the ones that were sort of tied to this whole anti-Thargoid, anti-Xeno, Aegis, exploration, study, whatever. I believe strongly that it was a bug, but it was like, somebody, Phil, at the office, flipped the switch 3 weeks early, that this is stuff that wasn't supposed to happen yet, but is supposed to happen soon, TM. I strongly believe that we're going to see that, like, it literally, of all the stations in the galaxy, only these ones that had this weird Aegis stuff going on all started to fall at the same time, and then they were like, whoops, we'll fix it and bring them back up. Come on. That's too much coincidence. I'm not buying it. Somebody flipped the switch early. This story will be continued.
Yeah.
Orange Phoenix, you had some stuff?
Yeah, yes, it's been proven to be a bug, but I really think that the devs should have ran with that. They really missed the trick. They fair enough, as you say, it could have been they flipped the switch too early. Well, tough, run with it. You flip the switch, you can't leave the community hanging like that. But even if it was just a bug and it wasn't part of a big grand plan, they could have hyped that up through social media, through Galnet, and just ran with it and built up to something that they're going to do later. But instead, they appear to have just fixed it and brushed it under the carpet so far.
Tweaked.
Yeah, couple of things on that. I'm torn on the whole falling station. Is it coming in the future? Is it not? If it does fall, what can we do with it? Are we going to rescue people off a burning station again? Is it going to be something just to go see? We need some content that we can participate with, that we can actually make a change with. Or was this set up to happen now because originally this is when Odyssey was going to be out for everybody? Well, originally it was a few months ago, but and maybe this is something that you have to do walking around on the ground kind of content. I'm wondering if maybe that's part of it. So we'll see what it is, but
what was it a few months ago? I hear there's this guy called Tweaked who does a console corner that's got some information. We'll get to that soon. Flaps.
Yeah, like I have sort of two things that I sort of wonder. The falling station side of things, it would be so cool if they let those stations fall, but I sort of wonder, could they, if they do let the stations fall at some point later in the future, could that be something for Operation Ida as an expansion to Operation Ida? So you have to go down to the planet and start pulling things off the planet, this, that, the other. I'm not too sure. The other thing that has me sort of wondering the most is, what on earth is that Aegis ship carrying that has those Thargoids chasing it all the way to Sol, this close to the bubble?
So the official story is that the Aegis ship is carrying all of the Guardian stuff that we collected in the CG like 2-3 weeks, well, not like a month ago. It's full of all of that Thargoid stuff. So that's the official story, which makes sense because, you know, Goids don't like Guardian stuff. But what if you're right? What if there's some tinfoil? What if there's some secret?
It just makes me wonder because, like, that ship was parked in Delphi right next to the Sentinel, which is a research station for Sirius Corp. You know, could something have been transferred off that research station onto the Aegis, get back to the bubble, but now it's being chased by the Goids? I don't know. It's pure conjecture and tinfoil, but I love it.
Commander Shorty in the chat thinks the Aegis ship is carrying a captured Thargoid.
Or my Ken Griffey rookie card could be. You never know. Thoughts, possibilities abound. All right, so that is all kinds of good stuff. Why don't you tell us, Roy, a little bit about the community goal that's going on?
Yeah, so this is one of these two-sided community goals. One is for Nikado KAINE and the other is for Edmund Mahon. You can choose to deliver copper microcontrollers and polymers for Nikado KAINE, which then, if that side wins, then there'll be another, I guess, stage to this where there's something about void opal mining. I'm not sure how many people are going to want to turn in void opals, but the other side of it is you can turn in ceramic composites, polymers, and superconductors for Mahon, which would go to a second stage where there's tritium mining. And so far, the Mahon side is beating the other side 3-1. So heading in that direction.
Yeah, there's a couple things here. Number one, people love Mahon. Number two, on the one side, they said flat out, if you go with the Mahon side, there's going to be new stations for tritium. At that point, the subject was done. You could have said, oh, and for the other side, Angelina Jolie is going to be dancing for you in a swimsuit. People are still going to say, I want the tritium. Like, that is a done deal. Like, they stack this one that, yes, there's no special, oh, you get a kill warrant scanner, or you get a whatever. But when you tell the population at large, hey, man, do you want more rare goods or do you want more tritium? Guess what's going to win 10 times out of 10?
Yep.
So, yeah. The fix is in. Mahon's going to win. And even if he doesn't, the Galnet article said he already won. You know, it's just going to be, do you get Mahon or do you get, like, more isolationist Mahon. I don't even know. Like, all of this is meh. This particular CG to me seems very meh. And I had been previously saluting Frontier for really good CGs that kept people excited, but this CG is not doing it. This CG is not giving your console players and your Horizon players stuff to get excited for. Now, the AXI is making comments and making rumbles that the Goids are pushing deep. They are what, within 100 light years or whatever of, you know, they're moving to continue this, that they're going towards Soul. So like, that could be a thing that could for sure excite the entire galaxy, but you're going to need to, it's time to stop teasing, and you got to, you know, put up or shut up. It's time to make a big play. Do something with the Thargoids for realsies, not just probe, retreat. We'll see you in 3 months. It's time to actually do something. Just my opinion. And that takes us to Tweak's console corner. Take it away, Tweak.
All right, we have a video I'd like you guys to watch real quick. Control, if you could throw that up.
Is there any indication that you can obviously talk about of when Odyssey is going to be making its console migration into that version of the game at all?
Yeah, so obviously it's fall of 2020. What year in? 21, aren't we? Yeah, so 21 this year. It'll be holiday season this year. I also hate the fact that we use American terms because I can never remember what is supposed to be what. But fall of this year, we'll be going to console. I'm acutely aware of it. I'm a console player first, so I play predominantly on console. So I really want to play
the video yet.
Odyssey on console, but there's a lot of stuff I need to do to get it to work.
I'm seeing it on YouTube.
Here it goes.
On console because it's got to work on original Xbox and PS4. So there's a lot of stuff they've got to sort of make sure fits and runs properly.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work going in, and Dr. K, who you may well know is super smart, but she alluded to or explained about our last one where we have like this. We do have in the offices like a whole studio designed for this, where we can just go in and just like get the build and put it all together and make sure it works on console. But obviously with the pandemic, we haven't had access to any of that stuff, and you can't go into all this stuff sort of. And that's when we put the initial announcement out, which was just shortly after I joined. And I was like, thanks guys, that's great for me to. Hi, I'm new, and by the way, your game's been delayed. That's the main reason. Like, they can't get in and start doing all that stuff. So they're working on it. Sort of now they're going to get the PC relaunch is scheduled for May 19. And obviously that's delayed. People forget that was supposed to come out, I think, in March. So that shows you how much that was delayed by. But which is why the alpha was in such a good state when it went in, because obviously they're still working on it. And they will be going hell for leather to get the console out this year. But it will be full this year.
That's awesome. I'll be looking forward to it because
Tell me what.
Go Tweak.
All right. Okay, here we go. So, as I was going to say, what in the living hell? 2 points that we're going to take out of this video, and this is why, as console players, we are beyond frustrated right now. The first of which, he says that shortly after he got hired, he found out there was going to be a console delay. So let's take a look at that. Arthur got hired in April, and we found out there was a delay in January. So that's like 6 months. Now, I'm old. Sometimes I think 2005 was a couple years ago. So even if I give him a pass and say maybe he just thought it was a lot closer, that's still a stretch. That's straight up lying to me.
Can I hop in real quick just to check your math there? April to January is 9 months.
Okay. Yep. See, 9 months. That's a long freaking time to lie to us, straight to our faces. The second point I take out of that is he basically stressed that they had to get it to work on the original Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. And it sounded like they were struggling with that. And I don't believe that. Well, not that I don't believe that. I don't doubt that. They're older consoles. You see the stress that Odyssey is putting on players, PC players that have good newer PCs even. So I don't surprise that one bit. But I don't doubt that one bit. That being said, maybe this is a conversation where they should have talked about just building it for the next gen. We're at that point. Maybe they should have just built it for the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, if that was going to work. The fact that they're lying to us straight out for 9 months, and then still to this day, and now I know they're working on getting PC fixed, they still have not addressed console one bit yet. And okay, let's look at things since Alpha dropped, okay? Or since Odyssey dropped on PC a few days ago. It dropped. Our servers went down for 10, 11, 12 hours because the game is persistent. BGS is persistent across all platforms, so we couldn't play our game. Game came back up. It was glitchy, to be expected, patch day, so on and such forth. But then they said, oh, you know what? In order to fix the server so the PC guys can get their games, and don't get me wrong, I don't begrudge anybody playing on PC. This is not your player's fault. It's FDev I'm upset with on this. Their fix for this was to shut down all the fleet carriers. So everybody on Odyssey, or most everybody that wasn't out in the black at the time, can have fun playing all the on-the-ground stuff. Meanwhile, those of us on console are stranded wherever we had our fleet carriers, or we can't jump our fleet carriers to wherever we want to go to pretend to amuse ourselves. And we are 3 days on now. 3 days, and we still have no word about getting fleet carriers back. No word about we're working on console. It's going to be out on time. I've got 4,000 hours in this game. I started a squadron with 2 other guys. They have over 6,000 between them, both of them, each of them. They haven't played the game. One of them hasn't played the game in 2 months. The other hasn't played in weeks. And I haven't touched Elite Dangerous at all this week. And that is the longest I've gone since I started playing this game with taking a break. I've never taken a break this long before. I can't bring myself to play the game because I feel like I'm being lied to. This, honestly, is the first time since I've been playing video games. I'm 46 years old. I've been playing video games since the Atari 2600 with Pac-Man and Space Invaders. This is the first time a video game company has made me feel like a lesser citizen. I know they had problems. I know COVID was an issue. I understand there was a delay. But I feel like I'm being lied to. I was lied to. I feel like I'm still being lied to. And they haven't addressed it one bit. And I don't see any sign of them doing it anytime soon. Console players are leaving the game. I've got friends, good friends that I've made in this game that haven't played, and I don't know that they're all coming back. This is a problem. They need to address it, and I have not heard a peep from them about anything other than PC. And I get it, the drop, you know, the release of Odyssey, that's the important thing right now. They got to get that stable. I understand that. They still could address the console community just a little bit. Just point us in the right direction. If there's another delay, it's going to kill the community. The console community will be gone. Period. That being said, on console, I'm having a great time with Mass Effect Legendary Edition. So if you're like me and you're bored to tears with the base game right now, go ahead, give it a try. It's a fun game. If you haven't played Mass Effect, it's the best trilogy out there. One of the greatest stories of all time. So I'm a little not happy with the way things have gone. I'm excited for Odyssey. Not as excited as I used to be, but it is what it is. I just want to hear some truth from Frontier, and I don't feel like I'm getting any.
All right. So that is Tweaks Console Corner. We're going to sort of roll that into the discussion topics, and we're all going to kind of go around and respond to this. I know that for several of us who are PC players, you know, we have a different viewpoint. We're experiencing a different thing. But I think we at Elite Week have been through all of this process. We have attempted very much to be understanding of the console players, our brothers and sisters in arms who are in a tough spot. So we, you know, we want to definitely extend our sympathies to them and our sort of hopes that this gets resolved soon. And I think that when you see Art say, you know, something happened shortly after he started and it was like, oh, wow, I'm brand new. And now we're going to have this delay. We're going to have to delay the console launches after the PC or whatever. And it's basically 9 months later before they tell us that. That puts things in a rough spot as far as I can definitely understand them feeling not pleased with that situation. So let's take a moment, even if you're a PC player, let's take a moment and acknowledge that while, you know, it's fun to meme and PC Master Race and whatever, the fact of the matter is these are our brothers and sisters. These are commanders in the game who have sort of been told one thing and then got let down and then find out that sort of the letdown was known about for a long, long time without them being told. I think they have every right at this point to feel a little unsure of their place in this world and a little needing of reassurance, and I'm not hearing much of it. So yeah, I just wanted to take a moment and express that. Now, having said that, why don't we go around the horn? Let me look through the thing here and see who is up. Let's start with Orange Phoenix.
So, yeah, you know, I know that Arthur, for example, is a huge advocate for the whole console community. He has admitted that he is a console player. That is totally his genre of game playing. Yeah, the details are a bit suspect, you know, 9 months ahead of time, knowing these sorts of things. But it's painful. I'm salty as mainly a console commander. It is very harsh the way that console's been treated at the moment. You know, we're being treated as second-rate citizens, effectively. Now, I appreciate that PC is the greater community with regards to numbers, and this is a business, and they have to look at it in a business sense. But they're being a little bit off with regards to keeping us informed. They're being a bit off with regards to what they're expecting us to accept. Fleet carriers, for example, as Tweaked was pointing out there, we're not able to use our fleet carriers. It's a glitch caused by Odyssey that we cannot touch. We have to sit and watch all these PC commanders, fair enough, not necessarily enjoying Odyssey as much as they would like, but still, they're in there, we're not. Yet we're suffering, not being able to play the game that we should have full access to. And let's face it, fleet carriers are not a priority. They would have been fixed by now if they were a priority. They're prioritizing Odyssey. And then with all the Odyssey glitches, David Braben comes on to the live stream and makes an official apology. Does a forum post with an official apology to the Odyssey players. Where's the console players' apology? We, you know, the delay, we got no apology. We're still getting no apology. We're not even being looked at, and we are being treated wrongly. And it's very, very sad to see. And as Tweet was saying, I'm seeing console players either switching over to PC or leaving the game. And it's not right. It's definitely not right.
Does anybody else have anything they want to add on to this before we move to the next topic? I want to give everybody the opportunity to be heard if they have anything they want to add.
I would like to add real quick that I don't blame Arthur. I realize Arthur's doing a job. He probably was not allowed to say anything to us. I blame FDev. And I see in the chat some people saying PC commanders can't use their carriers either. Well, I get that, and that's not cool. You guys could use your carriers too, but you have things you can do that we can't if you're playing Odyssey. And even if you're not playing Odyssey, you do have that option to play Odyssey. We don't have an option. We have the same game we've had for years now. So it needs to be done. And like I say, I don't blame the community managers. They're doing a job. They're only allowed to say what FDev tells them to. So I want to make it clear, I don't blame Arthur for this, but I blame FDev as a company.
PC commanders need to put themselves in our shoes. Imagine if you weren't able to play the game. And then you suddenly get something taken away from you. That's the hard part. I can understand is the hard part for you, the PC community, to understand. But try and put yourself in our shoes.
Oh, I get it 100%. Absolutely. Roy.
I mean, I get that they're paying attention to the larger segment of their community, but communication isn't going to cost them any money. I mean, I guess it costs a few man hours to draft the thing, but that's a minuscule cost in the grand scheme of things. And it just boggles my mind that they're missing out on, you know, how much of a disproportionate positive impact they could have by crafting some basic communications to keep the console community updated, or just checking in with them. You know, that doesn't seem like a big ask.
100%.
And even I would also say it's, I mean, just thread off of what Phoenix was just saying, it's not a good look for them, and it's not just that they're affecting the console community. Any community you're in, if you see, you know, the game developer handling one segment, one group poorly, that reflects poorly on them generally, not just to that community. It's to everyone. It's a bad look for them.
Absolutely. And Flaps, to close out the subject.
Yeah, I totally agree with Roy there. Communication is absolutely key. Like, it doesn't really cost much, as he said, to really sort of keep a surprise to the whole situation. I don't personally play on console. I'm a PC commander, and I have full respect for everyone who owns a Elite Dangerous version on console, because it has to be a difficult situation. Like, for example, in the Pilot's Lounge, you know, I've asked everybody in the Pilot's Lounge to cover all posts with spoiler warnings in interest of the console community, because we don't want to spoil too much before they get their hands on it. So one thing I just want to say is that hopefully we as a PC community who do have access to this, let's face it, beta, we are able to band together and try to sort of take a saltiness out of the community that there is at this present moment in time because of the botched launch and stuff. But let's sort of band together and get all these issues ironed out, so when it does come out in console, that the console commanders have the time of their lives and they're not having to run into the issues that we're currently having on PC.
Well said. Let's move on to the next subject, which is the Planet Tech. There have been a lot of people in the exploration community, the race community, the hooning community that have expressed very, very serious concerns about the planetary tech. Control, go ahead and play the video.
So I want to talk about story.
Is there any indication that you can obviously talk about of when Odyssey is going to be making its console migration into that version of the game at all?
Yeah, so obviously
Black Maze video.
It's fall of 2020.
Planetary Tech.
21, aren't we? Yeah, so 21 this year.
The one that you're going to play with sound and then loop muted while we discuss it?
Is there any indication that you can obviously talk about?
Those are the pictures. We need the video. Nope. The video from the links channel that says Black Maze Planetary Tech. Play this one with Planetary Tech. It should be labeled as asset. Let's see. Asset 6S. We had a whole discussion about it before the show, remember? Where Roy said you were going to play it once with sound and then
any
without?
indication that you can obviously talk about of when Odyssey is going to be making its console migration into that version of the game at all?
Yeah, so obviously it's fall of 2020.
Do you know what we're talking about?
Yeah, so 21 this year. It'll be holiday season this year. I hate the fact we use American terms.
One
so I can never
second,
remember
guys,
what it's
we're
supposed
going
to
to
be.
get this
But
sorted
fall of
out.
this year,
It's the last video.
we'll be going to console.
We need sound. All right. Sorry about that, guys. All right, let me start this over again. So sorry for the technical difficulties. The video that we had got lost and is not available for display right now, but the link is in the show notes to Black Maze has done 2 separate videos that were explaining in detail problems with the planetary tech. Obsidian Ant has done a video that was showing it off. There's been forum threads, explorers have been talking about it, everybody's been discussing it. Basically, the gist of it, the TLDR version, is this. We were told that Odyssey was going to give us this amazing new planet tech. It was going to have geological formations and volcanisms and Linnae and palimpsests and cryovolcanism and all kinds of neat rock formations and ridges and mountains and neat things. And I'll be honest with you, we've seen it. We've seen amazing, gorgeous new planets. However, we've also seen a lot of areas that people have been pointing out that it's like, this looks horrible. This looks flat and splotchy and not right. And a lot of people have sort of been jumping to the conclusion that, well, the planets are broken, the planet tech sucks, this is no good. And I disagree. I think that the planet tech is great, and you've seen it on some of these amazing planets. I think we're having a server issue or I'm not smart enough to know computer stuff, but we're having something broken in the back end issue, which if you look specifically at the Obsidian Ant video, he shows, like, this doesn't seem right. You go to planet A, it looks amazing. You go to planet B, it looks horrible. You go to planet C, it looks amazing. You go to planet D, it looks horrible. Something is wrong here. I suspect that it's not the planet tech, it's the servers, it's the something, it's not being rendered properly. It's not that it's poorly designed, it's that there's a bug that's causing it to work great in places and horrible in others. And people are making videos highlighting the horrible ones and saying, see, this is horrible, which they're right, it is. But that's not a problem of the design, that's a problem of the execution. And it's a problem that is much easier, I believe, to fix. So I'm thinking that this is a situation of it's janky, it's undercooked, they rushed it, and it didn't get out properly rendered across all of the planets. It's there for half of them and not the other half. I think that we're going to see this get fixed in the course of the next couple weeks or month and a half, whatever, and then it will be better. That is my supposition. I could be wrong. What do I know? But from what I've seen and what I've put together logically, that's my hunch. Phoenix. Oh, so sorry. Actually, you're next.
Yeah, I guess what I would just say is, if you watch, don't watch the Black Maze video without also watching the Obsidian Ant video. I watched the Black Maze video, and honestly, I felt almost sick to my stomach, because what he shows is a series of worlds that where obviously the planet tech isn't working, and it looks, you know, the shape of the surface looks like rocks under a rug, and the textures on the surface look like melted ice cream randomly splattered all over the place. It's really bizarre. And I think the main point he's making, which really resonated with me, is, you know, one of the reasons you explore is to go find cool looking places and explore them. And if what he was finding was true across the galaxy on all the new land, you know, all the new landable planets and all the existing landable planets, then it would be a pretty boring journey. Because he was just showing time and time again that the texture maps looked like, he was calling them like leopard skin. I've compared them to like digital camo. And that's just like a non-starter. And then in Obsidian Ant's video, obviously there's obviously some distinction between planets that just look great and others that look like what Black Maze found. And I'm currently on a little mini expedition where I'm sort of testing this theory. And the first couple of planets I've landed on, the tech is working and they look freaking awesome. I don't disbelieve that what Black Maze found is true, but it's obvious that it's not everywhere. And it definitely appears like something's not turned on these planets that are looking this bad. So obviously something will fix, but it is disheartening to see it kind of roll out this way. And certainly luck of the draw, depending on what planets people land on first, they could get a pretty bad impression of this.
Tweet.
Yeah, 2 points on this. One, if it is indeed bugs, and I'm pretty sure, like Obsidian Ant said, that it looks like they are bugs as far as that goes, they'll get that right. That's the kind of thing they will fix. That's what these hot fixes are for. I don't have any worry about that. Dr. K is very proud in her work. She will make the devs get it right. As far as not having the different terrain and all the different things that the racers want, I totally get why they're stressing out about it. But one statement he made in one of his videos was that this new tech can't create that kind of stuff. I don't know how he knows what this tech can and can't do yet. And I've seen some pictures on Twitter and Roy's pictures actually where there is some pretty good terrain. There's hills, there's mountains, there's different things like that I've seen out there. And I would contend that they just haven't explored enough of the galaxy yet. We can't say with certainty when you've only had Odyssey for 3 days. I'm pretty certain that you didn't find all the great racing tracks and all the cool planets 3 days into Horizons. So
no, I get that. What he's saying, what Black Maze is saying, and he's very right to say, is I went to these 5 planets that used to be awesome and now they're crap. But
well, yeah,
what,
but we knew those were going to be
let me
remapped.
finish, please. What Obsidian Ant was saying is that yes, a lot of the planets are crap. Other ones are spectacular. This is a bug. So they'll get to that.
Right. But I think we knew that the planets were going to be remapped. They weren't going to all stay the same, but I think we're going to find great stuff for them at other places.
Flaps.
Yeah, I agree totally with Roy. It does feel like it's almost a luck of the draw sort of situation, because I sort of went on a mini exploration myself last night. I went out to the Bubble Nebula, and every planet I sat myself down on looked absolutely amazing. Like I couldn't fault anything that I saw. I went out to a Thargoid base at one point, took a couple of shots from outside the Thargoid base, not inside the Thargoid base, and again looked absolutely amazing as well. So it does feel like it's a wee bit luck of the draw. It almost feels like they've launched these new servers, got the new servers up and running, and then they're deciding to add these planetary optimizations later on with these hot fixes that keep coming out little by little by little. It almost feels that way, but I don't know. I'm just like you, Kai. I know nothing about computers.
All right, let's hop in because we've got a lot to get to. Let's go through the running list of issues, and we're just going to hit these rapid fire because we got to kind of get moving with this. So let's see here. We've got, first off, BGS, Elite Dangerous Odyssey Settlements, CZs, the conflict zones that are for the EDO, the Elite Dangerous Odyssey Settlements. I'm not going to read the whole announcement, but basically, Frontier said flat out that the way it's going to work is when 2 parties go to war, they're each going to have their like a settlement put in, and there will be conflict zones in those settlements only that affect those settlements. There will be other conflict zones that affect the whole war, but in the end of the war, they're going to look, and whoever won the most conflict zones from FPS is going to win that settlement. So theoretically, that means a couple of things that we got to address. Number one, that means console players don't even get a shot at that. They can affect the overall war through the space conflict zones, but they cannot affect the conflict zones on the ground at all. So they have no chance to win the settlements on their own. Number two, it means that you could get weird, freaky outcomes like I won the war for my faction, but Tweak's faction that we were at war against won both of the settlements. Or I took over Tweak Settlement, he took over mine. We traded. Or I won the war, but we both kept our settlement. Like this leads to some interesting like variations and possibilities and stuff, but it also is explicitly just straight up rough for the console players because they got no shot in these settlement conflict zones if the way the statement is written is to be believed. It's a little awkward. Go ahead, Orange Phoenix.
Yeah, it seems like another sort of rushed approach aspect, you know, lack of thinking on the devs' part with regards to the overall effect to the community. Let's quickly get Odyssey out and run with it. And it's just going to have a negative effect, unfortunately. They really haven't thought this through.
Next point is fleet carrier upkeep. There was a snafu with it right after the launch. It looked like it was double-ish. It looks like people's fleet carriers were going from about 21 million upkeep to the 39 to 45 million range. Everyone got super, super mad and was, you know, ready. They got their pitchforks and torches out. And then about an hour later, Frontier put in hotfix 1 and everybody's sort of upkeep went back down to what it was before. It was not an intended. Everybody was like, "See, they're sneaking this in. They're nerfing fleet carriers. This is a whole." No, it was never, ever, ever assume that Frontier is being evil when you could also just insert or they screwed up. And when they screw up, quite often they fix it. They fixed it here an hour later, so it wasn't any big deal. For the FPS tutorial, number one, gotta say, it was awesome. I thought it was a very cool way to introduce new players to the on-foot stuff as a neat little tutorial. You start off and right away you're in some kind of a flashback and you're remembering your first day of training, or I don't know, a day of training. And it walks you, you know, by the hand, go over here. Here's how you cut a panel. Here's how you remove a power source. Here's how you input a power source. Here's how you shoot guys. Here's how you put on your shield, put on your flashlight, do this, do that. All of that was super, super awesome. I really dug it all the way up until at the very end, because I was riding. I'm like, I'm riding this ride. I'm hearing the story. I finished it. I killed all the guys. Sure. Killed wave 1, kill wave 2. Oh, come over here. Get on the ship. I could have at that point hit skip or end the tutorial, but I didn't. I want to see like, this is a cool story. Let's see what's going on. Went through the story, and guess what? At the end, it sort of eases up. It won't. The guy's talking to you about like, oh, what are you going to do? Are you going to go out and be a mercenary? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? And then you land, and it's like, all right, well, get out of the ship. And then you look down, and you have no option to get out of the ship. Very, very cool. Seems like it was a little janky at the end. Like maybe they weren't done making it. Just my observation. Keybinds. So first off, mine dumped for the tutorial, so I had to like redo my keybinds to do that tutorial. But then later, when I jumped back to the thing, because I only added my FPS keybinds, all of my other keybinds were there. I've heard from people that it dumped all of their keybinds. I've heard from other people where their keybinds worked entirely fine. They had no issue at all. It was hit and miss. Some people had one experience, some people had another. I will say, while we're talking about keybinds, it is criminally incompetent that we don't have keybinds for our batteries and our med packs. In the alpha, everyone said, hey, we need keybinds for our batteries and our med packs. That's just stupid that we don't have it. And they were like, we hear you for sure. Okay, but hearing us isn't enough. You have to do something about it. Flaps, go.
I don't actually know a lot around this subject. I just heard a lot of people talking about this. Thargoid payouts being broken, and I think that stretches into Horizons as well. For example, EP does his Finance Fridays, and he's had to cancel this week because they simply can't get the payouts, or they can't do the merits. I honestly don't understand the whole implications of it, but Thargoid payouts being broken is definitely something that needs to be looked at very, very soon by FDev.
100%, especially with all the Thargoid activity that's going on.
Exactly.
Next, we've got the whole issue with sort of around balance, effort versus reward, Elite Dangerous Horizons versus Odyssey. So we all know that when you do an FPS mission, you know, You get paid about the same amount that you get paid on a Horizons mission. The difference is the Horizons mission, you can do it 10 times faster. Also, if you're looking at the difference between the two, the FPS missions need to be more local, man. I was going around doing missions on foot, and I was seeing tons of them where it's like, yeah, this mission is, 3 systems over, or this mission is in Colonia. Do it. You have a 6-hour time limit. What the hell, man? That seems like it was a little janky and not finished. You didn't sort of get your sorting parameters of how you're gonna make that work. Also, there were tons of times, I did one yesterday where I went to a station to do a mission. I started doing the mission. I started getting shot by an invisible something. I ran because there was nothing that was shooting me, but I was definitely getting shot. I could see the bullets coming at me, but there was nothing that were coming from. And then it wasn't until later that, because I'm like, it's going low. First off, it's coming from low. And second off, there's nothing there. What the heck? It looks like the bullet's just coming through the ground. Yeah, then I saw a video of a guy who's like, look at this. There's all these soldier guys that are shooting me and my buddy through the ground. Like they're underground. Like they rendered. So you're getting assaulted by commandos that are 20 feet, 30 feet under the ground. So you can't shoot them or see them, but they can sure as hell shoot through the ground and hit you. Or I get a mission to go over here and turn on the power station at this settlement. I get there and the power's on. Now what? Like, there were all kinds of things where just the missions were broke, so you couldn't do them. Is this the end of the world? No. This is, I think, the mission system was a little rushed. It's a little janky. It's almost like they didn't finish making it. It'll get fixed in a short amount of time. In addition to that, you've got that it's way easier to fail the FPS missions, but this may just be because of the newness. Ship finds. You can destroy the planet Alderaan and get a 500 credit fine, but if you don't hear a guard say, hey man, stop, he's gonna kill you. First off, they're gonna all aggro you and assault you, and then 2, you're gonna get a 200,000 credit fine. Like, what? What? Again, it was the fact that as Tweak is typing in here. Sorry, Tweak. There's no wing missions for the FPS. Well, there's no wings anymore. It's all teams now. But there's no team missions for the FPS stuff that I've seen or anybody else that I know have seen. It's all solo stuff. Like, there's the mission system has cool stuff there, but it feels like it just didn't have enough time in the oven. It's not done yet. Real quick, Flaps.
Yeah, another one just to point out as well. You can't route plot. I think you can't route plot after you do a neutron boost. I discovered this last night. Jumped into the cone of the star, done my supercharge, went to plot to the next star, and you can't. It just comes up failed. So you have to manually target each star if you want to use Sponge, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I'm like, why do you keep? Yeah, you're reading ahead of the notes and you're answering the next section every time. Okay. Yes.
Oh,
no worries. No worries.
Sorry.
Next up is the maps. There's loads of cool new features with the maps. Stuff like, I mean, really cool stuff. You can filter by civilization. There's human, Thargoid, and Guardian. That's exciting. But there's also a lot of missing functionality. You used to be able to hover over when you would see a friend icon on the map, and then you would hover over it, and then you would see the name of the person that's in that system, and you'd be like, oh, Fred's over there. I'm going to go say hi to Roy, or whatever. But now you hover over it, and it's like, yeah, you got a friend there. Is it Roy? Is it Tweaked? It's a friend. Well, who is it? Well, go and find out. Like, what? You took away functionality. Don't take functionality off the map. There's other stuff like, you can click, like, if you have a bookmark for your fleet carrier, you can't use it anymore to just fly right to your fleet carrier. You can use it to fly to the system the fleet carrier is in, but then you have to open up the system map, find the fleet carrier, and map to it. You have to map twice. Lots of cool stuff with the map, but also lots of half-done janky crap in the UI. It feels like it wasn't quite finished cooking yet. Bookmarks. We asked for unlimited bookmarks with player-controlled and sorted folders that we could link in the chat, and you could generate a bookmark anywhere in the system using your lat long for planet side and system coordinates for the body, planetary body, which would be a massive upgrade. What we got is the same limit of bookmarks broken up into very unintuitive folders assigned by FDev, no ability to link them, and no ability to create or extract an exact location anywhere on the thing, which is a slight downgrade. Yes, it's awesome that you gave us bookmark folders, but we should control them, not you. That, like, it feels like it's half complete and kind of janky UI. Roy, system map.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things that I and I'm sure a lot of other explorers focus on is efficiency. If you're going somewhere a long way and you're trying to scan the good stuff, used to be in the system map, you could quickly hover over every body and pick, like, what was the one I scanned that had the biologicals?
I'm doing one more
on it?
video
Very
on
quickly
the
figured that
planetary
out
tech
within, like,
system
5
that
seconds.
replaced.
Now you have to click on each body and go over to that panel on the right and click on, and the planet information is split up between 2 buttons. Like, to your point, they've added extra steps. It's less functionality. Maybe it looks cooler, but I don't understand that interface change decision.
Look at missions, turning in missions. It used to be, it was like 2 clicks, you turned it in. Now it's like 8 clicks. You got to move around through 2 screens, 3 screens to turn in a mission. The main UI, it has lots of interesting sort of looking possibilities, but it's also missing functionality. It feels like it's half complete. Janky UI. It's not done yet. The ship loadout UI is a nightmare. It's, number one, it's very unintuitive and confusing. It has a weird glitch where if you choose to replace a module and equip it with another one, the module that you're replacing doesn't go into storage. It just automatically gets sold, even if it's engineered, with no warning to you at all. Unless you have to go in and there's a very tiny little checkbox at the bottom. You have to click it to make sure you say, hey, don't sell that. Just put it away. That is a disaster that, number one, needs to be fixed by Frontier immediately. And number two, they need to replace the however many thousand of people's engineered modules that got sold without them knowing it. We at Elite Week put out a warning. FleetCom put out a warning. Canon put out a warning. Lots of places were putting out warnings as soon as we found it, saying, hey guys, you need to be aware of this. Be very, very careful. Check that box. Do not accidentally sell your stuff. And I think that honestly, there should be any time for any reason, if you go to sell an engineered module, there needs to be a pop-up that says, hey man, are you sure about this? Because yeah, that's not cool. There was a weird glitch that allowed you to basically, and I don't even know if it might still be going for all I know, that lets you just create unlimited amounts of tritium. You just go take tritium out of your storage, put it into your ship, sell it to your fleet carrier, and for some reason it would show up in your fleet carrier cargo hold and also still be in your ship cargo hold. There were people that were just like, hey, look, I put 25,000 tons of tritium in my fleet carrier. That's funny. Okay, maybe Frontier, you should probably fix that. In the meantime, enjoy it, people. Whereas in alpha, you could sort of silent kill people with that energy link. Now it literally just pisses them off. They will turn around and be like, what the hell are you doing? And you end up with a 1.2 thousand credit fine. Literally, you can shoot the guy with a shotgun in the face and kill him and get less of a fine. But if you zap him with a taser that does not hurt him, he just turns around and is mad at you, you get a higher fine? That seems like it's a little janky and maybe needs to get worked out. The new crime and punishment system, I'm not going to read it out because we're late and it's going to take like 10 minutes. Look, it's really bizarre. I mean, I think there's some good stuff to it. I think part of it's good. It seems like it's a neat step in the right direction on one side as far as putting the crimes on you, not the ship. But there's ways that it can go on you and the ship. And then there's ways that later it can go from you to the ship. And then your ship's get impounded. And like, oh, that's a interesting system that I think we're going to need to see put into like how it really works before we know it. Is that a good step? Is that not so much? Yeah, that's some weirdness. Yep, right there on the screen now, if anybody's looking, that's the Planet Tech stuff that we were talking about from before, that video you're seeing now. Yeah, so take a look at that. But we got to keep rolling at this point. Also, that crime and punishment system doesn't quite work the way they said that it does. I know this because yesterday I was running by a guard and didn't hear him say, "Hey, stop." And so I didn't stop. And I got a 175,000 credit bounty on me. And then like 3 guards started opening up and shooting me. And when eventually I died, because I was trying to not shoot them because I didn't want to create a crime situation. I was trying to run away to like just evade. And yeah, I died, and it shot me to the prison. And from the prison, they say in the crime and punishment notes that your ship will be waiting for you if it didn't get destroyed. My ship did not get destroyed, and it was not there waiting for me. I had to pay for a taxi to fly back to the system where my ship was sitting there just waiting for me. So it doesn't work the way they say it works in this crime and punishment system. So I'm a little sketchy about all of it. I want to see how it plays out in practice, all of the details of it before we know, is this good? Is this not good? Whatever. Here is a free tip. This is a pro tip to any of you. You know how if you have something illegal on you, or you have a false cloned ID and the guards scan you, they will immediately go hostile and start shooting you. This is a pro tip from my buddy Dubs. If a guard is about to scan you and you're, dirty, you've got bad shit, either you've done illegal stuff or you've whatever, the scan's going to go bad for you, pull out a gun and aim it at him. He will forget about the scan and say, "Hey, idiot, put your gun away." And then when you put your gun away, he'll go like, "All right, don't make me warn you again," and just walk off. And he's completely forgotten to scan you. So that helps for now, as far as that's a nice way, like the AI is dumb and you can get around getting, if you get caught and you're like, "Oh crap, he's going to scan me now, I'm screwed." Point a gun at him. Apparently it makes them less likely to scan you. Just make sure you put the gun away, because otherwise he will start shooting. So that's a huge pro tip. All right, guys, real quick, who wants to add in? I know Orange Phoenix has a point. Basically, I'm going to sum up a lot of what I just said, where almost every title, every heading was, it feels half complete, a little janky, like it's not finished yet, which to me, I think, all right, well, then probably a lot of it will be better in the next month or so when they get to finishing it. All right, Orange Phoenix first, then Roy.
So, I love Elite. The community loves Elite. And I'm excited to get into Odyssey. Obviously, I can't at the moment, but I am really excited to get my teeth into Elite. I'm kind of glad, though, that I'm not in there with the current state. I think, let's face it, FDev have been pressured into release before they were ready. This is due to the financial backers, in my opinion. They're having to appease these financial backers by releasing the game when they said they would, instead of saying to them, "Look, sorry, we don't feel comfortable doing this yet." The game's not in a release state, in my opinion, from what I've seen. I've not been able to play it, but from hearing what the community is saying and what people are experiencing, mixed and varied, it's not showing any real consistency in a lot of aspects as well, which shows that things aren't ready for a full release. I think communication is the biggest fault here, or the lack of. The devs have been far too conservative with their communication with the community. They should have admitted that this is a beta. This is not a full release state that we've been given. it seems to me like they're waiting till full platform release is when they're aiming to have the full release. But instead of saying that, they've been a little bit too conservative, and they've kind of hinted towards it. And the forum posts, if I remember rightly, they said something along the lines of, we'll be making fixes as we go. Now, a full release game, you're not making fixes as we go. However, a lot of us in the Elite Dangerous community that have been here for a long time know that this is common practice with FDev to make fixes as they go. But in this instance, this is a lot of fixes that they're having to do. You've gone through all that list, Kai. People are not happy, understandably not happy with what they've been given as a full release. However, if they had come out and said, this is going to be a beta stage, we would have been a lot more understanding, and the new player base that have come into the game would have been a much happier and understanding than they currently are. Yes, you would still have your naysayers, your complainers, etc., but it would have made people realize, okay, yeah, you're being honest with us, I understand. And personally, I feel that a proper statement needs to be made along those lines, ideally from David Braben himself. And yeah, we deserve a little bit more respect than what is being currently given and muddled through at the moment.
I feel like, so what you just gave was sort of a summation, which I think goes with the next one. I'm going to hop real quick, Roy, to the next thing, because I think probably everybody's going to give, I want everyone to give their summations too. So basically, the next topic was Elite Dangerous Odyssey launch. We were told all along, you know, not to worry, that things were farther along than we thought. Well, I've been saying all along that they were not farther along than we thought, that they were scrambling like hell to rush a release, and they were going to drop a half-cooked product. So many of the above listed items were ended in feels half complete with janky UI. It's not done being cooked yet. Well, now that we have seen for ourselves the state of things, what's your opinion? The good news here is that most of these problems don't really seem systemic to me. They're just indicative of the fact that the product isn't done yet. A few months of polish to finish all of these features should end up with a great product. I'm legitimately, and I know that it sounds negative, the stuff that I said, I'm just listing stuff. I'm not attaching emotions to it. I'm just listing things. My emotion is actually optimistic because I'm saying, I think the things that everybody's mad about, they're not that bad. They're just not done yet. You can have an amazing car or an amazing sandwich or an amazing computer, but if you don't finish putting in all of the ingredients or parts, you know, you got an amazing car, but you didn't include a steering wheel. Well, like, it's not, yeah, that's a horrible car, but it's not that it's a horrible car that's going to take forever to fix. It's, you got to just add that one part. They just need to tweak and finish the little parts, and I think they've got a good product. Roy, let's get your overall summation.
Yeah, so this is the reason why I'm on a trip in the game, as opposed to hanging around in the bubble and trying to do engineering on suits and play the FPS. I kind of figured, even after being in the game for 6 hours after it dropped, that, you know, it's going to take a few days to get the worst of it, at least some of it, addressed, and then there's a long tail that's probably going to take months. I'm not going to be gone that long, but you know, I didn't want to be wasting my time on stuff that was fruitless. I think two things that, I mean, there's a long list of stuff, and we went through it all there, and I agree with everything PHEONIX said, that there's a long list of stuff that indicates it wasn't ready for release. I think for me, the Planet Tech alone, the fact that it seems to work on some planets and not others, that showpiece thing that I thought was in the bucket of, here's what we're doing that's going to make even everybody that's just staying in Horizons happy, plus everybody that's buying Odyssey happy, and it's kind of had a pretty rough launch there. And then the second thing that's, I guess, apparently been walked back, you know, the whole assemble your team thing. Like, there's no combined arms synergy around the FPS side. There's no continuity of tactical information between people, SRVs, and ships. There's nothing encouraging you to try that, even though every trailer you watch has these, dramatic shots of a ship and an SRV and a army of people all working together. I don't know. That feels like a really sort of deep structural thing. I don't know if that's on the list to eventually get put back in, because it's not a bug. It's just they haven't decided to put in that functionality. And the third thing is where's the surprise thing that they were holding back to announce to us? That's even with all of these problems, had they had something that was like, a cookie for the community, whatever, I don't know, a surprise ship, a new weapon, a new something, anything that could have at least put something on the other side of the scale. Like No Man's Sky just announced a Mass Effect crossover. They're putting the SR-1 Normandy into No Man's Sky. Like that, to me, that's the level of thing. I'm not suggesting it needed to be Mass Effect, but that's the level of thing that held back and then announced could have some serious wow factor and, put some salve on the wound that all this mess is causing. I think at the end of the day, what's going to matter is how quickly and for how long they continue to work on this long list of stuff. Are they going to keep the manpower, the team size, the effort, the intensity on filling in the potholes, grinding off the rough edges, polishing this thing up perfect until it's done? That's what's going to, I think, define this going forward. Is do they leave it 80% baked, or do they take us to 100% and then there's surprises even beyond that? That's where the final judgment, I think, will come.
I mean, both excellent points. They did highly tout their sphere of combat, and we have seen no real evidence of it. And Frontier is known for their sort of what was that guy, the Apple guy? He was a bit of a dick, but everybody liked his stuff, his idea. What's the Apple guy? Steve Jobs.
Oh.
Everybody knew Apple's Steve Jobs, that he would always go, oh, and one more thing, as he was walking off the stage and would drop whatever. Frontier is known for their one more thing. Their Frontier, they always try to throw in a little whatever. Take fleet carriers, for example. They were like, here's fleet carrier, here's the alpha, beta, here's all the whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then like, oh, fleet carriers. Oh, and by the way, you can now queue up for CQC anywhere in the galaxy. Like, they're known for their one more thing. I don't feel like we got a one more thing here. And I'm like, did you guys just run out of time and didn't have a chance to squeeze it in? Tweaked.
Yeah, not only did you not get a one more thing, but they promised in the alpha. I remember Arthur saying, oh, this is just a branch. This is just a branch of the alpha. They're way further ahead now. There's more stuff. Watching all these videos, I really, other than the planet tech that does and does not work, I haven't seen anything different. It looks like what was in the alpha for the most part. That being said, everything that we've listed off is fixable. When Horizons first came out, it was bare bones. It had issues, and they built it up through the years to be as great as it currently is.
I'm doing one more
And I've
video
seen
on
people in
the
chat
planetary
saying it's
tech
broke. It's
system
not
that
broke.
replaced the
Elite Dangerous
Horizons
before Patch Week worked very well. Sure, it has bugs, all that kind of stuff, but the game, more often than not, works wonderfully. I have faith that they'll get this there as well.
Which takes us to Orange Phoenix.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly add to what I was saying before by saying, basically reiterating what Tweet just said. The game will get fixed. It will. Elite Dangerous has been through this before. Horizons, as Tweet was saying, was a mess as well. Fair enough, maybe not quite as big an issue as some of the stuff because of the way communication is broken down this time round. But they love the game. The devs love the game and they fight for the game. And we will end up with a fantastic Odyssey experience, but it will be time.
I completely agree.
Yeah, exactly. We all know that deep down. Those that have played the game for so long, we all know that. And I would say to anybody that is new to the Elite Dangerous community that is watching, have patience. Perhaps switch back to Horizons if you're finding such a bad experience with Odyssey, and get into the game on that side, and then move into Odyssey once things are a little bit more panned out.
I completely agree that the vast majority of the long list of problems that I just sort of read out of, this doesn't feel done, this doesn't feel done, this doesn't feel done. I have absolute faith that they will nail that. They will get it over the next month or two. They'll get that sorted. The two things I'll add on here, in addition to the Planet Tech, the other thing that is sort of an issue that has been, you know, highlighted very well by Black Maze and others is the lighting issue. Some people like it, some people don't. Black Maze did 2 videos. The first one also covered the lighting issue and showed side by side. Here's the exact same picture that's, you know, the same perspective, the same vehicle, the same everything. Here it is in Horizons, here it is in Odyssey. And I like the darkness of Odyssey on foot, where you're kind of scared running around in the base in the dark. It adds to that sort of, my little flashlight only illuminates this area and anything out there could be coming to get me. I love that on foot in Odyssey. On ships and SRVs, to me, it looks way worse. And I very, very much, we had Astro on and we talked about it a couple weeks ago and said like, eh. So like maybe some people like it and they're like, hey, I want this version. I would very much love it if Frontier were to give us an option to say, do you want for the ship and SRV stuff, not for the on foot. For the on foot, I think it's part of the game mechanic that you have to deal with it being dark and aim your flashlight directly at it in order to see. I think that's whatever. But for the ship and SRV part, do you want it? I think they should give you a toggle. You could have the Horizons lighting mode or the Odyssey lighting mode, because I personally would take the Horizon lighting mode 10 times out of 10. I think it just looked super, super good. The main thing that worries me isn't any of this. The main thing that worries me, and this is maybe premature and maybe it's a waste and maybe there's nothing to worry about here, but this scares me. They switched over to a game producer who is a pew pew guy. He's an FPS looter shooter guy. That's his background. I feel a little scared that it feels to me that some of the things that we've highlighted in the past months with zero-G stations, people running around in cowboy hats without helmets on airless planets, you know, things like that. The fact that they sort of gutted the you know, salvaging, didn't really have any sort of interesting mechanics to how you like, oh, remove a component without causing damage, like any kind of a mini game or any kind of a challenge or something that takes skill or thought. The fact that the plant exploration exobiology entire loop sort of it wasn't a thoughtful, you know, like you have to sort of use some skill or thought. It was just sort of a Twitch base. It was basically just a reskin of lockpicking from old, you know, Skyrim or whatever. It's the feeling that they put a lot of effort into the shooter and not so much into the science. That scares me. And I'll be honest with you, I would love to see David Braben come out and say, hey man, we're going to, you know, we needed to put the effort into the shooter because we needed to put that out as a viable product as part of this whole collage, this whole thing that is the overall experience. But now we're going to get to the science. Now we're going to focus on, you know, the biology stuff. We're going to focus on making salvaging and scavenging, make it more interesting and dynamic and more like, you know, skill based or thoughtful, or now we're going to add mineralogy. Now we're going to, you know, focus like just more NASA, less Call of Duty. And that's just me personally. All of the stuff we listed today, I absolutely have faith that they're going to fix it. And I see Osashis in the chat who's saying, yeah, I agree with you on everything except the Planet Tech. I honestly don't think the Planet Tech is bad, Osashis. I think from the Obsidian Ant video, the planet tech is good, but there's a server bug and it's only being rendered on like half the planets. I honestly think there's a ton of planets where the planet tech isn't being applied properly. And when they fix it, I think it will look way, way better. I hope. We'll see. But I strongly feel like they're going to fix all of the stuff that we talked about. I hope that they also commit and affirm to the science, to the thoughtfulness, to the not everything has to be a shot a guy in the face. Real quick, let's go around the horn and then close it out. Let's start with Roy.
Yeah, I totally agree that the obvious bugs need to be fixed on the FPS, but the whole, the heart of the game is the science. And even, the only part of the FPS that I think needs to be really addressed is the science part of the FPS. There's still some gaps in how you can, use the heat map and the planets. That's a whole other discussion, but that all still is not working as intended, I don't think. So I really don't think they can grow the FPS of this thing enough to support an audience that would be primarily interested in that.
Sweet.
Well, I am more of a combat guy. Like I said, I'm playing Mass Effect, and I'm having a great time hiding behind cover and shooting bad guys. I am, and I will enjoy that once I finally get to be able to play Odyssey. That being said, I feel like, from what I'm seeing, for the most part, the FPS is in an okay place. It's good enough. The combat looks like I will have fun with it. I'm with you guys. I want them to focus on some science. I don't want to see pizza boxes laying on the floor of a tin can station that has no gravity. That doesn't make sense in my head. They used to not have to worry about that kind of stuff. They used to be good about keeping that kind of stuff straight, and they seem to have gone astray with that.
Kontrolldon. All right. Flaps.
Yeah, I just want to fly spaceships. I just want to fly. That's
right
me.
on. Flaps.
Yeah, like just to reiterate what you were saying there, I have total faith that they'll fix this. What I am just a bit concerned about is how long is it going to take? Is it going to take 1 week, 2 weeks, 6 months, a year, 2 years, until we get where we as a community as a whole are happy with the state of the game and where it's going in the future, So like something I had wrote down in some of my notes is it would be really nice if they done one dev diary every 3 months just to say to the community, we understand all the problems. This is what we fixed over the last few months, and this is what we are going to do in the next 3 months. It would be just nice to sort of have a wee bit more communication, as we mentioned earlier,
100%. Orange Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm not an FPS player, really. I really look forward to capturing video and taking pictures of it. And I will have my son by my side as my protector as I do so. And yeah, I do have a bit concerned with the hiring of somebody that is based around that aspect. And that is definitely the direction they've pointed towards. However, as we said, I have complete faith in the FDev team. I want this to be adjusted. Let's face it, we all want that science aspect in the game, as it's always been. Let's just hope that the player base and the community can hold up in the time it takes for them to address these issues. And hopefully they don't roll out to all platforms the planetary tech without fixing it first.
Absolutely. I'm linking in the chat, and Roy's linking in the Twitch chat. So YouTube and Twitch both have it. This is a post that was a response to David Braben's forum post today that I think sums up a lot of the thoughts that that we've had fairly well. So go and check that out. See what you think. See what you think about the ideas that are expressed there, and the idea that I think the overall, you could sum it up as, more NASA at this point. Like, yes, the pew pew is great. That's awesome that you added it. It's good. It's serviceable. Now it's time to get the NASA part. Now it's time to get the Star Trek. Now it's time to get the Arthur C. Clarke. Now it's time to get the Andrew Weir, and you know, we want to be Matt Damon on Mars, figuring out how to grow, you know, potatoes with their poop, whatever, you know, science it. We're way over, so we're gonna just go ahead and move right on to the closing thoughts. We're gonna hold off on State of the Game this week. The State of the Game is that it's a shit show, and guess what? Everybody that's pointing out problems, you're right, there are problems. But I will say this: if any of that surprises you, that it's a shit show, you haven't been paying attention to MMOs for the last decade. Every MMO that has released in the last decade has been a shit show on launch or on an expansion release, unless it was super unambitious and they were just putting out something that they were trying to hype as a big deal that wasn't a big deal. This Odyssey is a legitimate big deal, which means that the way it's going to work, according to the way MMOs work now, is you're going to get a shit show for a week. A week later, it's going to be halfway decent. A week after that, it's going to be pretty playable. 2 months after that, it's going to be decent. To me, like I said, the major thing is, after that, where do you go? Do you chase FPS? Because if so, I'm out. Or do you get back to the science? In which case, I'll love you forever. So having said all of that, we're going to all together at the same time sign off. So on the count of 3, everybody say good night. 1, 2, 3.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Nanu nanu.
Good night, everybody. We love you. This song I'm dedicating to my console brothers and sisters. Play it, Control.
So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a green field from a cold steel rail, a smile from a veil? Do you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your heroes for ghosts, hot ashes for trees, hot air full of cool breeze, cold comfort for change? Or did you exchange a walk-on part in the war for a lead role in a cage? Here, we're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year, running over the same old ground, and how we found the same old fears. Oh, I wish you were here. Na, na, na.
Bunch of drunk Console brothers and sisters, we love you. We wish you were here next week.